3-2 right now maybe seem a little bit underwhelming because of the expectations that this program had for themselves this year?
Yes and no. I mean, the expectations were really high coming in this year. Having returned 20 starters of 22, the expectations are, set to be really high. And, I think that's kind of where we're lacking a little bit is, the hungriness. Is last year we were hungry to get wins coming off the 3-8 season, and now we're coming off a 7-4 season. We thought, it was just going to get handed to us. So, yeah, it sucks being 3-2 right now, but, it's still a winning record, and now we just got to go 1-0 each week.
Is that something that is ever talked about among teammates? And I don't want to say a player-only meeting type of setting, but when there's not coaches around, is that something that is talked about among the players?
Yes, it definitely is talked about within Kale, Jack, Mason, and I. We try to emphasize that all week long of how can we still be hungry to go get another win, whether who we're playing. So yes, that is something that is talked about within the team.
Challenge that you faced this week, what you see on film, what you have to do to be successful?
Execute all the way around defensively. D-line, we've got to keep Zach Zabrowski in the pocket. Back end, we got to make tackles and stay in front of all the coverages. So, yeah, it's going to be a challenging week just like last week, but I think it's something that we can definitely get done.
Any similarities in what you saw from UCO to what you're going to see in UCM? They put up big numbers, but do they do it differently?
No, not really. I would say that they scramble a lot more. Zach scrambles a lot more, and we just got to keep him in the pocket. But no, whole bunch of RPO actions, relying on the big explosive plays.
Are you surprised that the defense has allowed more big plays? There was some last week, but last year you did a pretty good job of limiting them. It seems like that number's up a little bit through the first 5 games. That surprised you at all?
I mean, you never know what to expect with that explosive play. Everybody wants to come down, make the tackle and they bite a little too hard. But I am a little surprised with it, but something we got to work on and get better at.
It seems like when I see you on the field, you're talking with players from time to time, and by time to time, I mean pretty often.
Yeah.
You don't have to say what is said, but my question is this. Is that because you know a bunch of the players?
Yes, yeah.
Or is this purely competition thing?
Well, I'd say about 50% competition. But I know this is my 4th year starting, and I know most of these guys that I've came up with. So yeah, it's cool to talk to them. See how they're doing because I only see them once a year. So yeah, it's cool to see.
From Bushton, Kansas to Hays, Kansas is not a long trip. Why Fort Hays State? Back when you were in high school, did you choose this college?
The family and the culture. I mean, this community is unreal, and Coach Brown and the rest of the coaches, they treat you like family. They make you feel like you're wanted. They love you just like their own son.
You have 2 conference losses. Conference might be pretty wide open this year. You feel any added pressure to avoid that 3rd loss this week in the conference?
No, and that's something we definitely can't go into this game thinking about. We can't go into this game playing to not lose. I feel like that's something we've done to this year a little bit, because the expectations were so high. Is we were playing to not lose. We need to go in there and just be confident in ourselves and, get the job done. But what was your first part of the question?
Just about the conference race.
Yeah, and conference champion this year may have 3 losses. So, that pressure is something we don't want to think about. So,
Coach talks about need to be physical.
Yes.
Every week. He wants it to be more physical. In your mind, what's the magic key, or what's going on to be more physical that maybe you aren't to his standard yet?
Finishing the plays, finishing each tackle, and whether it's on the offensive side, running through the tackles, but being able to get that guy on the ground, whether that's 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys, being able to get him on the ground and make sure he feels it. That's what I get from him saying physicality. And the big hits. He loves the big hits. Drools over those.
Do you like the big hits?
Love them. Yes, sir.
What's the last big hit you had?
Oh, heck. I would say, probably Pitt State last year when Jason Wallace and I came across and hit a Pitt State slot receiver, and that was, yeah, he definitely felt that one.
I saw you drop in coverage a couple of times. Any flashbacks to your linebacker?
Yes.
Is that the reason you're able to do that?
Yeah, that definitely is the reason I'm able to do that, and along with the other DNs, that's really athletic at that spot, and that's something that, we're grateful to have as a defense. But, I mess around with Coach Harris all the time. If he misses me back there, and if I can pop back in there and stack and everything. So, yeah, we may see a little bit of it this week, so.
The 4 defensive ends really seem to rotate through. There's some depth at that position. Sometimes 3 of them are on the field at the same time. Does that provide you then maybe a little bit of a break in order to be fresher in the fourth quarter?
100%, 100%. Because, when you get along on those 10, 12 play drives, you're going to be gassed, and you're just, that's just room for error. So, bringing somebody in after the 6th play is relieving, and that really helps out the defense.
Senior season, do you approach these games any differently than you have in the past?
100%. You can't take anything for granted, knowing it's your last season. I have, 6 more guaranteed games left, so